The RBA's infinite QE. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because we're going to have a look at this article from Yahoo Finance. It's discussing, well, the RBA sees significant monetary support needed for some time. So what does that tell us, guys? It tells us that the money printers are essentially going to keep running as long as they need it. They've already, our own governor has already said they'll do as much as is necessary to meet their targets. And the problem is, the more money that's created in the system, one way or another, frankly, I think the biggest impact, the most significant path of money supply is through the housing sector in Australia. That's why we're seeing a bubble there, why it's inflating compared to anything else, is it's all just chipping away at your savings, your purchasing power. It's a hidden secret tax, that inflation. I mean, I know there are a lot of people that are critical of the monetary system that we have, but for the politicians, it's fantastic. They can hide all the costs that we're paying for all of these promises that they're keeping in inflation. It's brilliant. They're never going to get rid of it unless they're forced to. So the RBA sees significant monetary support needed for some time. Australia's central bank expects very significant monetary support will be needed for some time, and it'll take years to meet its inflation and unemployment goals. There you have it. According to minutes of its February meeting, when the board extended a quantitative easing program. The bond purchase program had helped to lower interest rates, and it contributed to a lower exchange rate than otherwise, the Reserve Bank said in the minutes released in Sydney on Tuesday. Given this, it would be premature to consider withdrawing monetary stimulus. And you've got to remember, the RBA, they don't care about house prices, everyone. Don't worry about it. Maybe they should start including it in their inflation calculations, their CPI calculations. Maybe we need to change it. It's an important aspect of all of our lives here in Australia, all citizens. Shouldn't that be considered? What do you think, everyone? If there's an organization here that can essentially magic money out of thin air, and every time they do that, that increases the money supply, the traditional definition of inflation would have that, considers that inflation. Essentially, the purchasing power of your money is reduced. Now, the flow path of that through into the economy, that's how, it's questionable when you will feel that effect. But fundamentally, if you go to the old definition, that's what they're doing. So shouldn't they consider house prices as a big part of that? If they included it, CPI would be up about 0.5. Higher. They may have actually reached some of their targets. So then maybe they wouldn't have adjusted the interest rates as they have. I mean, think about it. We're at 0.1 cash rate now. The only way to go is negative. Our current governor doesn't think that's going to be beneficial, because going negative, as he was saying, essentially means that, people don't spend any more money, guys. You actually save more when we have negative rates, because people are worried. The RBA announced 2 weeks ago it was extending its QE program by a further $100 billion and doesn't expect to raise interest rates until 2024. Governor Lowe and his board are trying to keep close to global peers that have sought to stamp out premature tapering speculation. Members concluded that very significant monetary support would be required for some time, as it would be some years before the bank's goals for inflation and unemployment were achieved, the RBA said. The Australian dollar was modestly higher after the release and traded at 77.93 US cents. While Australia is enjoying a V-shaped recovery, I would still argue it's a K-shaped recovery, because you've got some aspects of our nation that are not, the divide between those that are in property and those that are trying to get in property is continuing to grow. There's another YouTuber I follow, an Australian guy, I think Daily Rants he's called, And he was saying in one of his recent videos, because he was quite frustrated about property prices and how hard it is, and he was, challenging whether to get in or not. And he and his wife have now decided they're just going to get in no matter what. He was showing pictures of his rental here in Brisbane. Fence was fallen over. I mean, we're in a rental now. And Rachel sent a report to the real estate with all the damage. And she's even missed some stuff on the outside. There's like a downpipe that's not even connected. I mean, I don't care. I'm not there. We're not there that long. And I put up with worse in my own house. It's just, what you got to put up with to get into the market, I think. There's a reason why it's so bloody cheap. But, even he is looking to get in, to just get into the market. But yeah, I'd say a K-shaped recovery. What do you think, guys? And let me know in the comments. With the pandemic largely under control, boosting confidence, well, we've got another article I'll look at where confidence is now dashed, smashed and destroyed because of just the additional lockdowns. And fueling spending and hiring. The economy's small stature in the global monetary marketplace requires the RBA to stay in the slipstream of major central banks. So that means we're pretty much just along for the ride, everyone. If Australia were to step outside that line, it would risk sending the currency soaring and damage exports and jobs. A number of central banks and other advanced economies have announced extensions of their bond purchase programs to at least the end of 2021, the RBA said, adding that there was widespread market expectation that its program would also be extended in some form. If the central bank had allowed QE to end in mid-April, the currency would likely have risen, it said. The Australian extends QE program is here to stay in line with peers. The central bank is monitoring the effects of easy policy on the economy and said there were few signs of lending standards deteriorating at this point. The RBA acknowledged the risks inherent in investors searching for yield in a low interest rate environment, including risks linked to higher leverage and asset prices, particularly in the housing market. The central bank said. The board concluded that there were greater benefits for financial stability from a stronger economy while acknowledging the importance of closely monitoring risks in asset markets. The QE program aims to restrain the currency, which has been fueled by Australia's relative strong health situation and high commodity prices, as well as massive offshore stimulus programs. The Aussie dollar had surged 35% since its March 2020 low of 55 US cents. The RBA earlier this month released updated forecasts showing Australia's economy will grow 3.5% over both 21 and 22, and unemployment will fall to around 6% by the end of the year and 5.5% by the end of 2022. Economists predict the jobless rate slid to 6.5% in January, ahead of labour force data due on Thursday. The central bank remains concerned about how Australia's economy will adjust to some government programs expiring, with the signature job subsidy due to conclude at the end of March. Now, the question is, will the job maker scheme encourage businesses? Will that be enough for businesses to take on workers? Do you think it will? As temporary income support measures tapered or ceased, household income was expected to decline through the mid of 2021, it said. So there we have it, everyone. Our QE stimulus here in Australia doesn't look like it's going anywhere. We're just going to have to follow the other bigger, more advanced countries. What do you think? I can't imagine anyone here is surprised. We were talking about this last year, QE coming to Australia. There you go. Pretty much infinite QE, guys. As always, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and enjoy the content I create here, there are a few ways you can support us. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve or AussieBroadband. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. You can also sign up for MeetRx or SelfWealth for share trading, and that'll help us out too. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.